Hello everybody and welcome to the summer Q&A for 2022. I always do one of these when I'm on vacation, so yeah, let's get right into the questions. When it comes to Tenogen, do you think it's fair that DE has the final say on Warframe/weapon skins instead of the ones that lots of people want? I think it's absolutely fair. I mean, at the end of the day, it's their game, and if they want or don't want a skin in their game, that's up to them. Also, one thing you have to realize is they probably have a really good reason if they don't pick a very popular skin, because they would actively be going against themselves, right? Because, and don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure, I think the split on Tenogen is 70-30. 70% goes to DE, 30% goes to the creator, like of all the revenue the skin makes. So from a business standpoint, it makes no sense for them to not pick the most popular skins unless they have a specific problem with them. So yeah. Next question, would you be interested in a stealth rework in Warframe which would reward you for stealthing a whole mission without using abilities, without triggering any alarm, or even without being spotted? You would get increased rewards for fulfilling each condition, with the best rewards being if you fulfilled all of them. I'm gonna have to say no to that. I love the combat in Warframe, I love how fast and frantic it is. It's what keeps me playing and what has kept me playing for all these years. So I wouldn't do it even if it was super rewarding. It also wouldn't work for like a big chunk of the game. Like, how would you do defense without being spotted? That would be pretty difficult. Or survival, interception, that kind of stuff. Or even stuff like exterminate, you talk about not using abilities, that just wouldn't work. This actually kind of reminds me of when a lot of people all at once suddenly got this idea that we need a different melee system in Warframe. It needs to be slower, more deliberate. And I was just like, no, this is not the game for that. If you want to play Monster Hunter, go play Monster Hunter. But this is Warframe. Moving on, you've always said you don't want to upload content besides Warframes because it just doesn't do as well, but now that you've uploaded Lost Ark and Path of Exile, do you think you will upload more games in the future? Absolutely yes. I actually kind of touched on this in the Q&A announcement video, but I just can't go 100% Warframe all the time anymore. It just burns me out. I can absolutely go 100% Warframe when a new update comes out, but once the update dies down a little bit, I want to start doing something else and take a little bit of a break from it. And I'm fully aware that this might sound crazy to someone who's, relatively new to Warframe and they're still really excited about everything, but I've played the game for 9 years? That doesn't sound right, but I think it's been 9 years, and I've sunk 5,000 hours into it. The only other games that I stuck with for this long were World of Warcraft, I played that for many years back in the day, and Path of Exile. I've actually been playing Path of Exile for... it's actually going to be 10 years later this month. And that's right, I did start playing Path of Exile before Warframe. I actually used the little bit of money that I had back in the day to buy into the closed beta. And I still have the message they used to send out in my inbox. It was sent to me on the 28th of June 2012. Next question, you've probably answered this 100 times, but what's your favorite item in each slot? Well, for Warframe, it's, surprise, surprise, Inaros. I love the way he looks, especially with the Anubisat helmet. Just mwah. Fantastic, and I love tanky frames, and Inaros is the tankiest of them all. Then for primary, I'm actually gonna go with the Nataruk. The Nataruk is actually very, very nice. I like that bow an awful lot, and I've been using it quite a bit. Then for the secondary, I'm gonna go with the Kachamun Kid Gun. I just love my Doomshroom and I still use it more than any other secondary. And for the melee, I'm actually gonna give you 3 because I can't pick the best one. We have the Guandao Prime, the Glaive Prime, and the Gulso. Moving on, since you have been playing Warframe for a long time now, would you have guessed/predicted the current state of the game 5 years ago, and where do you see the game going in the next 5 years? Well, I definitely would not have guessed them doing open worlds. That was definitely a big surprise however many years ago when they announced Plains of Eidolon. But some of the stuff, like, doing more stuff with the Orokin, doing something like Rojak, yeah, maybe. And I have absolutely no idea what the game is gonna be like in 5 years, which is a good thing. I don't want them to be predictable. Next question, what is your kickback and relax game if you have one? Well, I actually have 2, Euro Truck Simulator and Farming Simulator. I have a G920 steering wheel that I use for rally games, but it's also really fun for trucking in Euro Truck Simulator or just driving around with the tractor in Farming Simulator. Like, whenever I just want to kick back and relax, I will set up the steering wheel, I will set up the Cytec side panel, I will set up the pedals, I will get my Oculus headset, which I got for Christmas last year, and I will just truck around in VR. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, I put up an audiobook, I select a long delivery, like 1 hour plus, and I take the side roads. I specifically use the side roads in the navigation so I can see some cool stuff and I'm not on the highway all the time. And I just enjoy the ride. And I know it's ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it is so relaxing. You would not believe it. And that's pretty much that. So next question we have, I've asked twice already, but seeing as this is a Q&A section, are you planning on streaming any PoE content? And the answer to that is most likely no. I've actually tried it before. I streamed the entirety of Harvest League, and while it was fun in the beginning, it became more and more stressful as it went on. I just don't think I'm very good at streaming, and as I've said, it stresses me out a lot. So unfortunately, no. Your channel and work is focused on large games that one can spend thousands of hours in. Do you enjoy smaller experiences from time to time? Yes, I do, but only from time to time. I don't usually play smaller games, but every now and then I will, and I do enjoy them. Will you be reviving some of your older builds? For example, Pathfinder Chains of Command or Champion Impale Carrion Golem. I've actually tried, but the animate weapon reworked kind of killed that build for good, and there is no reason to run Champion for Impale Carrion Golem anymore. The reason I did it was because Impale was busted at that time. It was really strong, and the only way to get Impale for minions was through the Impale Gem, Dread Banner, and Champion. Also, with all the nerfs to minions, specifically to their survivability, I don't think you'll be able to make your minions survive on a champion. You would have to invest a lot into minion defenses, and at that point, it's just not worth it. Though, with that said, actually, I was looking at a guy, I think yesterday on PoE Ninja, that's running Arakali's Fang with a Squire, and he's playing it as a champion. So maybe there is some potential with like invincible or disposable minions. Like, I could see myself playing Dominating Blow Champion. Why not? What's the next game you're interested in playing? Doesn't have to be an upcoming release, can also be old games that you never got around to. And there really aren't any. I'm not really in the loop when it comes to new releases, though I have been thinking about replaying Dungeon Keeper again. What other genres of games do you enjoy? I enjoy racing games, more specifically rally games, stuff like Dirt Rally, Richard Burns Rally, WRC, that kind of stuff. I like action tower defense games, with my favorite one probably being Orcs Must Die 2. I don't think any tower defense game will ever top that one. And I enjoy city builders, stuff like City Skylines, that kind of stuff. Will you be doing a face reveal soon? Also, heard that you used to be a chef in one of your newer videos. Can you tell us more about that? Well, I did a face reveal. I posted a picture of me a few years ago, but you probably wouldn't recognize me anymore. I've lost a ton of weight, I'm completely bald, my beard is different, and I got a few tattoos, so maybe it's time to post another one at some point, somewhere, I don't know. And being a chef is rewarding, but it's also backbreaking work, especially if you're working in a smaller restaurant and it's just you in the kitchen, because you have to do everything and it is pretty bad. Especially if you're working 12 or 15-hour shifts, which is what I used to do. Back during Diablo 3, you said that you've always enjoyed games in that genre. I do. Do you have any plan to cover/play Diablo Immortal? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I refuse to give Blizzard my time or money. They've become a scumbag of a company that releases half-assed games, and I refuse to support them in any way, shape or form. Even though it means giving up on Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is a game that I would actually love to play because I used to play a ton of Diablo 2. And I know it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, I just refuse to give them any more of my time or money. What do you think of the current state of Path of Exile? Things you like/don't like? Well, that's pretty simple. I like pretty much everything except for the Arch Nemesis implementation. I think Arch Nemesis just made the entire game less fun. And I'm not the only one. A lot of people are unhappy with the implementation or the fact that it was added into the game to begin with. I mean, hell, even the people that are defending it usually say things like, well, it's not that bad, stop overreacting, and that's the problem, right? This replaced something that we had, and it's not better than the thing we had. That's the problem. No questions except one. How are you so good at making videos? I made a lot of them. That's basically it. I just made a hell of a lot of them. And they really weren't good in the beginning, but they're getting better now. When will we have a melee build for Path of Exile? Melee build. Next question. Have you considered making some merch based on you? Maybe just some small things like pins. I have, but I don't think people would buy it. Would you guys want merch? I can't imagine people would want to buy my merch. Is YouTube actually fulfilling for you? While general profit is an avenue of discussion here, I'm mainly curious if you actually like what you do here. I absolutely do, like knowing that I may have made someone laugh with one of my stupid jokes, or I saved them some time with one of my guides, or I made them understand something better. It is fulfilling. I also like the process of making videos. I like doing it, right? The whole, having an idea, fiddling around in the game to record it, and then, do the voiceover, do the editing and all that. It's fun for me. It's why I do videos that I think are good rather than videos I know will do well. Even though it's significantly less profitable than just, chasing the trend. Which I did for a bit, and I made a lot more money than I make now, but I just feel better about doing the videos that I'm doing at the moment. Like, the Warframe Open Encyclopedia is a great example of how not to do things on YouTube nowadays, right? Short, to-the-point videos with essentially no space for ads and no sponsorships. Do you think Warframe will die? Like, many people are quitting YouTube, and Twitch is not best for Warframe in general. I don't think it will die, but they really need to be more consistent with their updates, because at the moment they're kind of all over the place. Path of Exile is actually a good example of consistency. Like, yeah, they had their ups and downs last year and throughout the pandemic, but who didn't? But overall, they're very consistent. You get a new league every 3 months, and every 6 months, it's a bigger sort of expansion as well. It wasn't always like this though. Path of Exile used to be all over the place with its updates too, and it didn't do it any good. But then Kriparian, as in the streamer man Kriparian, told Chris Wilson, one of the 3 guys that started Path of Exile, to be more consistent. This is a true story. Crip used to play a lot of Path of Exile, and one day he and Chris were talking on Skype, and he just straight up told him, "Look, Chris, you need to be more consistent when it comes to updating your bloody game." And Chris took it to heart, and who wouldn't? Kriparian is a very successful streamer, so why not take advice from him? So yeah, the reason why Path of Exile gets updated every 3 months and we get a new league, it's Kriparian. And I think Warframe needs to do something similar, right? They need to have more predictability when it comes to the actual timing on the updates. What mobile games do you play? I play one, it's called Infinitoad 2, I do believe. Infinitoad 2. Yeah, it's a tower defense game that I play every now and then when I'm on the bus. And finally, my Q&A question is, how are you? I'm pretty good. I'm still a bit sad about Birdman, but what can you do? But overall, I'm pretty good. And that is it for the Q&A. So I thank you very much for listening this time around, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.